Welcome to the Rock and Review. I'm thrilled to have on an incredible singer, songwriter, guitarist, multi-genre, Leah Nobel.
Thanks for having me.
You know, I really love your new album that recently came out, Running in Borrowed Shoes. I want you to take our viewers through, Leah, kind of how you came up with some of these stories for this great album.
Well, people gave me the stories. You know, this record was adapted from 100 interviews with real people.
Wow.
And the songs are inspired and adapted from the conversations I had with people about their lives. And my sort of overall goal with this was to make a musical representation of our shared humanness. So not only was I sort of bringing other people's stories to life, I was looking for reoccurring themes in the human experience. You know, what we have in common, essentially.
It's almost like, to me, you know, reading about everything before you came on the show, it's almost like a science project or a sociology project that you turned into an album.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, my interviews were research, and then I transcribed them, like I was telling you before, in first person. And so that way, I wasn't writing the songs from my perspective. It was really an exercise in writing them from their perspective as a vessel.
But they feel like your songs when you listen to them, and it's like you're giving those people a voice.
Yeah.
That they may not have otherwise.
Yeah, that's the power of empathy, right?
Yeah, it's just incredible. And you've been so well known, you know, obviously, you know, Amazon has you on their big list, NPR, all these lists that are saying, take a listen to Leah Nobel. And you've had, you know, hit commercial music as well. I also wanted to bring up, you know, that you being raised in Phoenix, how did you start playing?
I got a guitar for my 13th birthday, and I've always been a singer. I used to do choir and musical theater, and I started, you know, using my guitar as a tool to write music. But it was later in my teen years. I kind of started late. I had a guitar teacher who was, you know, charting out cover songs for me and was like, hey, you should try writing. And I was like, I can't do that. And then when I tried, it was actually really easy, and I sort of fell in love.
Well, what spurred you on to write your first song?
Oh, typical teenage stuff. My boyfriend broke up with me, so like I'm sure my first 20 songs are probably about that.
Well, I got to ask you about this because you and I obviously, you know, you went to school in Flagstaff, Arizona, and I've driven through there a lot. And so what was it like playing the coffee shops and playing all the cool little venues there in Flagstaff before you came to Nashville?
Yeah, so it was a great experience. I was just really beginning, so it was a great starting point for me. And Flagstaff is such a quaint little town.
I love it.
It's a good place for coffee shop music.
And great coffee.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, now, I've got to ask you this, Leah. A lot of our viewers may not know this about you, but you have 3 different musical personalities.
I do.
Or alter egos.
Yes.
So you have Hale.
Yes, which is Leah backwards.
See, thank you. I was like going, how did she come? It's because at first when I saw that name, I thought, is she playing death metal?
No.
You know, but then to find out that it was more electronic music.
Yeah, it's just my name reversed.
And it's funny because by the pictures, it does not look like you at all.
Yeah, so when I'm Hale, I wear a black wig and sunglasses.
You look very poppy.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what
very
about your
fun.
rapper persona, which is Little Cheesecake?
Yes, I put rapper in quotes. I call it brat rap. Little Cheesecake is really a place for my sense of humor, I would say, more than anything. The tracks are usually a little bombastic sounding, and the lyrics are very cheeky, and honestly, it's just a whole lot of fun. I can't believe that I'm even allowed to do that.
How great is that, though? You know, because you're such a creative force of nature, you know, to be able to have those different genres to work within. And like you and I were talking before we came in the studio too, Leah, you know, you've got to save some songs that are sacred to you, that are part of you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for Leah Nobel as the artist, what's really important to me is to make music that I want to see in the world and to be true to myself. And so I think separating, you know, these different creative pursuits that I do by different names has really helped preserve what I believe to be sacred, I think, my art.
I think it's incredible, and I think it gives you different avenues, and I think a lot of artists out there are challenged with that.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if you're working on one style of music, well, that can't go on this album or that EP.
Yeah.
What do you do with it?
Yeah, I'm a big advocate for creating alter egos, for sure.
I love that. Yeah, and and I asked this question too. Like, is there some like special food, or like does one of the alter egos prefer coffee? One likes like Mountain Dew. How do you get in a mode for compared to Leah Nobel, compared to Hale, and compared to Little Cheesecake? How do you get in those mental modes?
It's like acting. It's like playing a character, right? So it isn't necessarily like something different I eat or drink, but it's definitely a mindset. And when I'm writing music for my alter egos, my voice changes. They each have distinct sort of voices, and my attitude changes. Hale is like much, I think I'm like a kind of a naturally like quiet, sweet person probably, and Hale's like got an attitude. It's a little sassier, like might clap back,
So when you're doing this, I got to know this now. When you're coming up with song ideas and you come up with songs, do you have one of those characters in mind when you come up with it?
Yeah, usually. I kind of collect titles on my phone and make a running list, and I know which ones are meant for me and which ones are meant for Little Cheesecake and Hale. It's kind of, it's obvious to me.
I love that.
Thanks.
It's so much fun because it's like, you're not, what I think is so great about Leah is that you're not limited.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of us, and I know myself included, we will limit ourselves because we're like, it needs to be in that genre.
Yeah.
It needs to be in that voice. It's like, does it really? If it's good and it's fun,
That's key. I think if you're having fun, then rock out with the experimentation. Follow the fun is sort of my motto.
Well, and also with Hale, you're probably doing a lot more keyboard stuff, right? A lot more electronic?
Yeah, I'm usually collaborating one-on-one with a producer for Hale.
Okay.
So I mostly just sing and write for Hale, and I kind of lean on my collaborators to help me develop the sound and the track.
Right.
So.
And I think like Little Cheesecake probably needs like a cool logo.
Yeah.
And maybe like a dancing mascot.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, just a thought.
And
I'm
down.
obviously Cheesecake has to be involved in that. Maybe like a cheesecake necklace or something.
Well, so far, all the tracks that we've released for Little Cheesecake, the album cover is food.
I love that.
So we had a cake for one, a donut for another one. It's like all baked goods. So that's kind of her MO.
I like that.
Food.
It's so incredible. Well, I've got to ask you, so with all this great music, with all the things you're doing, constantly creating, where's the best place for our viewers to find your music, to buy the songs, that whether it's the singles, the album, whatever, from any of the three artists that you are?
Yeah. Well, for Running in Borrowed Shoes, obviously that's a concept album.
Mm-hmm.
And on my website, leahnobel.com, there's lots of information on the record, and all the video content is there. Same with YouTube. That's a really great place to get sort of the whole picture of the record.
Good.
And you can also buy it on iTunes and stream it on Amazon and Spotify and Apple Music. In terms of Hale also has a presence on YouTube, as well as the streaming platforms. Little Cheesecake only has one song out right now. But I'm hoping, an EP will be coming eventually. But you can find that same place, Spotify, YouTube, etc.
You're going to have a separate producer and a label for each artist that you are.
Yeah.
And so there's a different entourage with each artist.
Sure, yeah. We haven't gotten there yet, but we'll see what happens in the future.
If you need somebody to come in and help with Little Cheesecake, let me know.
I will. I know you have some good ideas.
It's so much fun. Well, I'll tell you what, buy the album, get the singles, however you consume music, but Leah Nobel's album is just great. There's not a bad song on there. I have a few personal favorites like Slow Burn, which I love the way you sound on guitar on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, playing an open C.
Yeah, open C.
It's so incredible. Well, I can't wait to hear more of your music. I'm glad that you've given a voice to people with this type of album, because you just don't see that much. I mean, it's it feels like an artistic project.
It very much was, and like I said, rooted in a concept. And, everything is contagious in our society, and I'm hopeful that this opens doors for other artists to maybe try something they were scared to try, and try a concept record, or do some more creative exploring, because it really was a joy for me.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think that everybody that downloads the album, buys it, and I recommend you get the whole album, you're going to find at least one or two songs that you can relate to. And I think also I relate to Messy Kitchen. So there's one of the 10 songs you're going to go, that's me.
Yeah.
Leah's writing for me and speaking for me. So be sure and check it out. Leah Nobel, Running in Borrowed Shoes. I think you're going to love it, and I can't wait to hear more music coming from her. Thanks for watching The Rockin' Review.